from his family.
Was out on the field pretty much the whole entire first half.
We've got a lot of great games. I'm highlighting 2 SEC games.
What's up, everybody? Christian Ballard, sports journalist here at Ballard Sports Media, here for Touchdowns Live with my good friend Mayhem, the one and only Matthew. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm living, I'm kicking, and sometimes screaming. I don't know, but yeah, I'm making it, man. I'm good.
Well, can I be honest with you, Ballard?
Sure.
We're going to have a great episode of Touchdowns Live. So if you like the content, please smash the thumbs up. And you really like the content, hit the subscribe button because Ballard is on his way to 2,000 subscribers.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. And
So-
you're still a work in progress on your side, right? Like you will be back eventually.
Oh yeah, I got big surprises. I'm already really excited. So, but for now, let's build up Ballard Sports Media and let's talk about a couple of things today. We're going to play a little short game, and there's no winner or loser, but it's a little fun exercise.
Mhm.
And then we're going to talk about Paul Finebaum. He shuts down a collar and heated college football debate. We also are going to talk about Kirby Smart defending Gunnar Stockton after Paul Finebaum's criticism. But a bigger question looms with that dynamic, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. We're also going to talk about more college football playoffs, the 5+11 model gaining traction as leaders eye next steps, and we're going to talk about the Nebraska football field is going to be getting a brand new look. So, and if I missed anything that we're going to talk about, then just stay tuned. We're also going to be talking about College Football 26, the brand new video game. We're going to look at 5 things that are going to be new coming into that game. So, a jam-packed show, and it's going to be an awesome one. So, please stay tuned and support Ballard Sports Media and the touchdowns and what we do. It's completely free to support us by giving us a like and giving Ballard Sports Media a subscription. It's like, look, whenever somebody asks you to subscribe, normally you're subscribing $3 a month or $9 a month or whatever. But guess what? Ballard doesn't charge anything. $0 a month. $0 a month to subscribe to this man. There's nothing free in
All you
life.
gotta do is take one finger, put it on that phone screen, or nowadays you could even do it on the computer too. Computer like mine is touchscreen. Just take your finger and hit that subscribe button. That's all it costs you. It costs you a millisecond just to hit a button.
And even if you don't like Ballard, you can stick your middle finger there and hit the subscribe button.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, let's get started. Start us off today, Ballard.
All right, let's actually let's do the first article and then we'll go to our little game here. But Paul Finebaum shuts down a caller in a heated college football coaching debate. Now Finebaum obviously has bold takes like we do, but in his own way. I would say he's good at what he does as far as running a program and a show. But I don't always agree with what he has to say. But it was very interesting this week on the Finebaum Show, Mayhem. I'm going to pull this article up and we're going to read it and pretty much react to it as we go. But if I recall, it had to do with Kirby Smart and that boy Dabo Swinney. Um, so here we go. Uh, let's see. We got this pulled up here. Yeah. After Nick Saban announced his retirement, and by the way, I quote this from Athlon Sports, Jaron Spoor. After Nick Saban announced his retirement from college football following the 2023 season, only 4 coaches who had won a national championship remained active in college football. Georgia Bulldogs head coach Kirby Smart and Clemson Tigers head coach Dabo Swinney each had won 2 championships. Then Michigan Wolverines head coach Jim Harbaugh won one that season. And then North Carolina Tar Heels head coach Mac Brown also won his national championship with the Texas Longhorns in the 2005 season. It's fair enough for me. However, soon after Saban's retirement, Harbaugh left for the NFL, and Brown parted ways with North Carolina after the last season. Additionally, Ohio State Buckeyes head coach Ryan Day joined the ranks of national champions when he won the title last season. Of course, we're talking about 2024. On the Finebaum show, the SEC Network analyst stated that Smart is the best college football coach, or the best coach in college football. However, a caller disagreed, arguing that Swinney is the best coach in the sport. Finebaum swiftly dismissed that idea. And I read and quote from Finebaum, Kirby Smart is so much better of a coach than Dabo Swinney that I feel really silly trying to counter your argument. It is that foolish. You talk about respect for me and then say that I'm losing it. I don't think I'm losing it. I don't think you ever had it if you think Dabo Swinney is a better coach than Kirby Smart. Both coaches have enjoyed successful tenures at their respective universities. Smart has an impressive record of 105 and 19, 84.7 in 9 seasons at Georgia. He won 2 titles in 21 and 22, and he also has claimed 3 SEC championships, including one last season. On the other hand, Swinney has a record of 180 and 47, 79.3% winning percentage there. In his 17 seasons at Clemson, he secured his 2 national championships in 2016 and 2018, has won the ACC title 9 times, including last season. While both coaches have achieved significant success, they inherited very different programs. Smart took over a team that had already won 10 or more games in 4 of the 5 seasons prior to his arrival. In contrast, Swinney inherited a program that had not reached 10 wins since 1990. That is true. And it goes on to say they have faced each other twice, with Smart winning both matchups by a combined score of 44-6. Now both are aiming to lead their teams back to national championships, and they may need to go through each other to achieve the goal. Mayhem. Um, I think it's a mic drop moment in this article for Kirby, don't you think?
Yes,
Finebaum. I mean, he pretty much he let him have it too.
yes.
What
I'm
do you
gonna
say, Mad
say
Dog?
I'm gonna say this. Kirby Smart and Dabo Swinney are the best 2 head coaches right now in college football.
Right.
I know the Dabo Swinney and the transfer portal, he gets a lot of I guess you could say he gets a lot of heat whenever it comes to the transfer portal because he didn't want to use it. He was highly against it. He wants to recruit and he wants his players to be all in and and all that jazz. He's old school in that way. Ballard, if there was no such thing as NIL and there was no such thing as, where you can transfer immediately and without sitting out a year and all that stuff, if there was no such thing as that, we would be talking about possibly Georgia versus Clemson almost every single year for the national championship. And I know there'll be a couple of years where maybe Ohio State would have won it, or maybe like the Michigan of the world or whatever, right? But and even the Bamas of the world. But I mean, we would be talking about the best two college football programs would be Georgia and Clemson had none of this really came about. If you take a look at when the NIL really started going wild and the transfer portal, that was around the COVID season, right? 2020. When was Clemson's last national championship appearance? 2019.
Yeah, that season. Yeah.
So, I mean, so so Clemson was at that time they had just won 2 out of the 3 last national championships. 2016, 2018. They went to the national championship in 2019. Correct me if I'm wrong. COVID season, were they not in the play? I'm pretty sure they were in the
Oh,
playoffs.
no. They were in the playoffs and they lost to Ohio State. Ohio State was not
Right.
able to beat Clemson.
So they were in the playoffs in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, didn't make it 2021. Didn't make it 2022. Didn't make it 2023. This past
They made
season,
the 12 team. Yeah.
they won the ACC championship. By the way, got into the playoffs with the automatic bids. But I say all this to say this. Like, around the time of 2020 is whenever they allowed players to just transfer whenever they wanted to. I mean, they have, open portals and stuff like that now, but that was really whenever it changed and NIL really started getting really popular around 2020, right? That's whenever it really started getting like really big and popular, right?
Yep.
So whenever I look at the success that Clemson has had since 2020, you have, he has an ACC championship. He has a couple of playoff berths. I mean, Clemson is still talked about year in and year out, even though they took a couple years where they didn't make it, right?
Yep.
So I say all this to say this. I still believe firmly without NIL, without the automatic transfers, without sitting out a year and all that stuff, Clemson and Georgia would probably be like, remember Alabama and Clemson was in the 20 teens,
Yep.
where for a
It was
while
like
it was,
1A and 1B.
yes. And that would be kind of what Clemson and Georgia would be right now. But of course, the landscape of college football has turned, and Dabo Sweeney didn't make that turn whenever college football did. So, yes, his program and him took a step back. But as far as like coaching, like pure coaching and recruiting, I mean, he's one of the best. And so is Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart is the best in college football right now. And nowadays, nowadays, high. I mean, nowadays, college NIL can start paying high school players now. Like while they're a
Yeah,
senior in high school, they can pay high school seniors. And that's starting in high school as a senior. These NIL deals can start while they're still in high school. So I mean, we give credit for teams doing good in recruiting, but in today's landscape of college football, is it really recruiting if you're just handing a whole bunch of money to these students?
right.
I
It's
I
not.
mean, I mean, we even see like Deion Sanders, for example. Like, he's not even going into homes of the players' homes and really recruiting. He's saying, "Hey, you know where to find me. I ain't hard to find, and if you want to play for me, then come on and let's make this money." I mean, that's pretty much it. And so, it recruiting has really changed and really flipped on its head, but Dabo didn't make that change like college football did, and that is why he is taking a lot of the heat. But as far as a head coach, he is the second best head coach in the nation. Kirby Smart is number one, and you just said it earlier. Look at what Dabo Sweeney did for Clemson. He took a program that was like,
Average, at least.
yeah, and look at what he's changed it into. I mean, we're talking about right now the heavy favorites to win the ACC again. How many times has he won the ACC? Like 8 or 9 times, 10 times? I don't know, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
It's to me, right? Whenever I think of the best two head coaches in college football, it's these two guys. And
now let
you
me
take,
ask you, um, I fully agree with everything you said. Is there a scenario though, Mayhem, especially if they go head to head in a national title or a playoff game? But let's say you have both of these coaches, both with 2 national titles. Let's say if Clemson wins a national title this year, whether it's against Georgia or somebody else, is there a scenario where Dabo regains that lead over Kirby because he has 3 instead of 2 national titles if Clemson found a way this year?
I mean,
You think it's possible? I don't know if it's a
here's
guarantee right away, but I mean, there's a debate even more.
here's the question, Ballard. Like, it's the same thing with quarterbacks.
Okay.
Whenever we talk about the greatest of all time quarterback, especially in the NFL, we think Tom Brady because, well, he has the most rings, right?
Yeah.
Is that the same thing with head coaches? Is it rings? I mean, is it how many national championships? Um, I mean, when we think of Nick Saban being the greatest head coach of all time, we look at, you know, obviously he has what, 6 national titles, 7, 6 or
7.
7, yeah, 7.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, based off of just national titles alone, of course, if he wins a natty this year, Dabo will be looked upon as better in that category. Yes, but as far as recruiting nowadays and um the other statistics, I mean, we can probably go down the line with other statistics and stuff like that. Um, I would say that they would be pretty much even. You know what I mean? Because I think Georgia will have more long term success. Kirby Smart will have more success long term than Dabo will. I think Kirby Smart's really just getting started with his success. Dabo's been in the game for, as a head coach a lot longer than Kirby Smart. So he's on the. I'm not saying that he's retiring soon or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that Dabo Sweeney's on the back end of his career as a head coach. He's been doing it since the uh, the late early 2000s. 2008 or something like that. I can't
Yeah.
remember. Um,
No, it was
and it
interim in
was
'08 and then got the job in '09, but yeah.
yeah. So he's been doing this for, 2028 will be 20 years as a head
Yeah.
coach. Kirby Smart started in 16. So in 2026, he'll be 10 years. So Dabo Sweeney has 10 more years
Mhm.
of experience more than what Kirby has. So I think here's the best answer, Ballard. If Dabo wins the national championship, that's fine. You can make a debate where you can say Dabo's better than Kirby, whatever, right? But I think the whole who's better debate should be once both of their head coaching career ends.
Yeah.
Because whenever you think about, like, Kirby Smart has only been coaching for almost 10 years. Dabo's been coaching almost 20 years. That is double what Kirby has done so far, right?
Yeah.
So you don't know what Kirby Smart is going to do in a 20-year span versus, what Dabo has done in a 20-year span. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and also if we had to project, like, let's say, okay, let's say whether it's 10 or 15, we could assume Dabo has that many left in him, right? Like we could say he goes on like this, oh, I coached as long as Nick Saban did at Alabama or something. Okay, cool. That's fine. What about Kirby? Does he coach even longer? And then when Kirby's done, because he'll obviously be done after Dabo, and then we can look and revisit this in like 30 years or whatever the hell it's gonna be, right? Like, yeah, I mean, you you have to look at it too. Like right now, we can look overall and say Nick Saban's the greatest of all time because of 7 national titles, his win percentage, the 10 SEC titles and stuff. We could say that now that he's gone. We can't, like, you don't know what these coaches are gonna bring to the table as they're still coaching currently. Now you could project and say they're gonna continue to compete against each other in recruiting, they're gonna be the 2 best in the sport, obviously, but it's still a race for that number 1. Now I would give the edge to Kirby, but I think for both of these coaches, it's like, you know, it's still too early to call, right?
Oh yeah, totally, for sure. Like right now, the best head coach in college football is Kirby Smart, and if Dabo wins another one this year, then we'll have that debate next year,
Yeah.
and but I still believe, even if he wins another national championship, I still believe that Kirby is still the better head coach. I would still want Kirby as my head coach regardless if Dabo wins another one or not. Because I do believe there's three things in life that are 100% going to happen. That's
Hey,
death, taxes, and Kirby Smart winning another national championship before it's all said and done. So, like, you know, I guess to answer your question, no, Dabo Sweeney won't be a better head coach if he wins another national championship this year. I don't think he is going to win a national championship this year, but um, I think Paul Finebaum is 100% correct. I think this college football caller that called in, I think he has uh, good intentions to start a debate, and he just wasn't successful on this day. And our
is
prayers,
he gonna make it?
our,
Is
our
he?
our thoughts
Is,
and prayers go to this caller, and he just lost a debate to Paul Finebaum, and
but he won. He did win an award for Mayhem Matthews U Tried Awards, right?
yes, he did. He did.
I can't wait for that if you bring that back. You got to bring that back.
Yes, for sure. That will be
Yeah.
brought back for sure. Our thoughts and prayers go out to him for sure. He definitely tried. But let's talk about something else with Paul Feinbaum. Don't want to talk about Paul Feinbaum too much though. This is not the Paul Feinbaum show. This is the Touchdowns Live with Ballard and Mayhem. So Kirby Smart defended Gunnar Stockton after Paul Feinbaum's criticism, but a bigger question looms with that dynamic. So I'm getting this article from Saturday Down South. Um, so basically, um, Paul Feinbaum was asked, because his name is Paul Feinbaum. So basically, they asked Paul Feinbaum, is Georgia's quarterback fine or not fine in 2025? And obviously, he said he's not fine. Uh, you know, Kirby Smart caught that segment and let Paul Feinbaum know that he would be treated as fuel to the fire. He said, and I'm quote, "I'm excited. Gunner got the message, man." And then Kirby Smart smiled, and then he also said, "Quote, he got the message. You did your job." And um, then that's whenever Paul Feinbaum said, "Oh, I didn't know you was watching. I thought you was busy." And then they just had a laughable moment there. But Kirby Smart, even though he was laughing and smiling, he is definitely going to use that um and as fuel and put that in the fire. I want to get your thoughts on this.
Well, I think Kirby did his job defending his player, defending his guy, his quarterback. I think it doesn't come as a shock to me that he did that. It's what a coach should do. But it's like I don't know, man. Paul Feinbaum. I love his show. I love the callers. I love how he runs his show. But then he gets off the show, and then it's like, what are you doing? I mean, even with these college kids, he's harsh, bro. He really is. Now, I don't know if he does that on purpose or if he's got like this disease or something. I don't know, but it just, I don't know. But anyway, to get back to Kirby, he did what he had to do. Um, you know, Feinbaum called out Gunner Stockton, and he, I don't, man, I just think Feinbaum's got some nerve to be calling out a college quarterback. Now, if it's on the pro level, I mean, they're making their money and stuff. Like, come on, you know. But from one article I read on it, this is from essentially sports. I don't know if that's a trusted source or not, but Soham Gosh put this out, and it says Paul Finebaum is questioning whether Stockton has what it takes after Georgia's offense sputtered in that playoff loss to Notre Dame, only scoring 10 points. Um, let me say this, and you fire back at me a little bit, but Gunnar Stockton hasn't done enough to prove himself, but he also hasn't done enough to prove that he doesn't deserve the job, right?
All right. Did you watch the game?
Against Notre Dame,
Yep.
I think it was at work actually for that one.
Okay. Well, let me give you a little let me give you a little rundown on that game. Okay.
Okay,
So Georgia was only down by 3 points, like literally 10, like less than 30 seconds before halftime. Okay.
okay,
We were only down by 3 points. Three, Ballard, three. And at this time, no team has scored a touchdown at this point. It was basically like the Georgia Bama game from a few years back. It was like it was like a field goal session, right?
right.
Okay. For some reason, instead of taking a knee, Ballard, Kirby Smart decides on his own on his own like 15, 20 yard line, whatever it was. He decides to be very what's it called?
Yes,
He wanted to score a touchdown before halftime. And so Gunnar Stockton snaps the ball, and our offensive line, the I believe it was the left side of the offensive line, completely did not block at all, Ballard. And well, they got to the quarterback. He tries to throw the football, but before he could throw it, the football comes out. He fumbles, and then Notre Dame gets the ball at like the 2 yard line, and then Notre Dame scores to go up by 10 at halftime. Okay,
yeah,
so to me, that is a head coaching blunder. That is all on Kirby Smart. That is a head coaching. That is Kirby Smart's fault. Why did you put Gunnar Stockton in that position in the first place? He is a brand new quarterback playing in a playoff game. Why are you putting him in that position to fail? Number one. Number two, that was not Gunnar Stockton's fault. That was the offensive line's fault for not doing their job in blocking. Also, so you're down by 10 points. Notre Dame is going into the locker room with a bunch of momentum. Ballard, football in general is what? A momentum sport, right?
yes,
So Notre Dame has all the momentum. And then after halftime, Notre Dame gets the ball and they have all this momentum. They are hyped up. They are literally electrified. They are ready to play. They just got up 10 points. So what do? Georgia kicks the kickoff, and Notre Dame runs it all the way back for a 90-yard kickoff return, right? For a touchdown. So now Georgia is down by 17 points, Ballard, right?
yeah,
You got yourself in a 17-point hole whenever in reality you didn't have to, and all that came from just trying to be aggressive and trying to go for a touchdown whenever you didn't need to. All you had to do is kneel the ball, and all this, the kickoff return probably would have never happened. I know for a fact that they wouldn't have scored before half because you only had like 30 seconds left, right? So, and your defense, Georgia's defense, was holding Notre Dame to 0 touchdowns. So why wouldn't you trust your defense after half? Why wouldn't you trust them? Why are you going to be aggressive, right? So none of that was Gunnar Stockton's fault that they went down 17 points, right?
Right.
Okay. Also, look at that game versus Notre Dame. He was 20 of 32, 234 passing yards with 62% completion and a touchdown, right? He got 4 sacks. He had 4 sacks in that game. Four.
Yeah.
Four. I mean, the offensive line was atrocious, Ballard.
And he still threw for 234 yards.
Yes.
That's
I
good.
mean, so no. Gunnar Stockton was not at fault in that game. Also, let's take a look at the Texas game that he won. I'm gonna remind you, Texas was winning at halftime whenever Carson Beck was the quarterback. Texas was winning that football game. And then he did 12 of 16 for 71 yards. And yeah, he did throw an interception, but like he was the main reason why they won the game, you know,
Yeah.
because of Gunner's legs. He was able to utilize his legs to get outside the pocket and get first downs and stuff like that. A crucial first down that set up an eventual touchdown, by the way, in overtime. Whenever he got absolutely knocked out. So no, he was, so you're going to say that he's at fault for the loss, but whenever he wins a game like against Texas, then now that game don't matter, I guess, right? Because Georgia was losing at halftime. He came back against Texas and won that game for Georgia. I'm gonna just remind you of that. So Gunnar Stockton, yes, he has not played a whole lot of games. His games come from Tennessee Tech, UMass, and then he played 2 really important games in Texas and Notre Dame, and I think them 2 games will help him out this coming season because he knows what it takes to overcome adversity, and he knows what it takes to win big games like against Texas, and he knows probably what he did wrong or what his team needs to do the right things against teams like in the playoffs against Notre Dame and stuff like that, right? So I think he will be mentally prepared for these games, and I think he'll be a great quarterback. I love Gunnar Stockton. I've been a Gunnar Stockton fan ever since he was in high school. So this whole Gunnar Stockton isn't good or whatever. We number one, we don't have enough to say that definitively, and number two, what we do have, he's looked good. He's looked nothing but good. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, bro, just wait until this year. Let him play a full season, and then we can talk about if he's good or not good. And at the end of the season, but right now, Gunnar Stockton is the future of this program, and I have a 100% faith in him. He's been in 2 really big games, meaningful games, and that's going to take him to the next level as he gets to start for the Georgia Bulldogs in 2025.
Yeah, I think, I mean, he's in a good position, man, taking over for Carson Beck, who's now at Miami. Um, you go back to that game, too. I mean, he did throw a touchdown. He didn't throw any interceptions against Notre Dame. He did, even in a win against Texas in the SEC title game. But yeah, I mean, when I watch a guy like Gunnar Stockton, like there was a key play, and I forget like what the down was or whatever, but they're like inside the 25 or so. Um, wasn't there like a key play where he got sacked, but only after the offensive line gave up on him or
What are you
something
talking about?
like that? Like I'm talking about in the Sugar Bowl against Notre Dame. There was a key play, but anyways,
The key play
I
was
don't
whenever
think
his offensive line. The key play was whenever his offensive line totally gave up on him on, I believe
yeah,
it was the left side, and he got sacked trying to throw the ball, and then he fumbled and gave Notre Dame a free touchdown right before half. That's the
that's
biggest.
what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking of. Um, anyway, it's not. There's nothing to blame Gunnar Stockton for. I think Georgia is going to be better this year. Now, is Gunnar Stockton better than Carson Beck? That's another topic for another day. But I don't know, man. Like I think you guys are in good shape with Stockton. I really do. And
I think Gunner. I think Gunner Stockton is a better runner.
right,
And I think whenever the pocket collapses and there's, I think Gunner can get outside the pocket and run and get you them first downs. Maybe in a third and long situation like 3rd and 7, and the pocket collapses. He's about to get sacked. I think he can run for 7 yards. I think he can pick up that crucial first down that is needed so that Georgia can get another 4 downs. I do think that he would be better in that situation because it just, now I don't know what the stats are. I'm not looking at stats or anything like that, but I'm just going based off of what I watched. So if I'm wrong, then just roast me in the comments. But it just seemed like last year Carson Beck, whenever he got in them third and longs, it either accumulated into an interception or he got sacked or something always bad would happen in them third and longs. Yes, of course, there are some times where he did get a first down and stuff like that, but it was few far in between, in my opinion.
for sure.
But I think Gunner can uh, be different in that way. I really do. I think can Gunner can definitely add to our running game, which I think is going to be pretty strong this upcoming season. I think our offense is going to look better for sure with
Yeah.
Gunner at the helm, and we also have two brand new wide receivers, one coming out of Texas A&M and one coming from Southern Cal. The two best wide receivers in the transfer portal from this past season, right? Um, and I'm very excited to see what they bring to the table. And you know, I just believe I just think that our offensive line is going to look a little bit better as well, right? You
Yeah.
know, and Noah Thomas is the one from Texas A&M, Zachariah Branch from Southern Cal. Two two extremely talented guys,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, I'm a believer in Georgia this year. It's the competition is going to be really tough once again, having to play the same exact schedule that we played this past season. You know, it will be a little bit easier as far as we get all the hard games that we had to go on the road this past season. Them. We will have them actually at home. So, and Georgia really don't lose at home, so that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where do you want to go next, man? We got a couple different topics here that we could choose from, but what else is on your mind tonight?
Let's play that game.
The one I came up with?
Yes.
Okay. What they have in common. Now, Mayhem, I didn't come up with anything new, but I think I'm gonna play my video from today, if that's fine. It's like 3 minutes, and it has to do with three coaches. I thought of this and kind of pulled it out my rear end off the top of my head. Um, and I want you, for those coaches, to tell me. Well, first, I'm gonna name them, and then I want you to tell me what they have in common, and then we'll play the video, and then I'll let you come up with something, and I can try to guess what they have in common. How's that?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Mike Gundy. You taking notes?
I'm taking notes, baby.
All right. Mike Gundy, Lakin Riley, and Mike Norvell. What would you say they have in common right now?
I would say all three of them are coaches that need to prove something in 2025. And
I like that answer.
I'll say that Mike Norvell, he's had one great season going undefeated. In the ACC, he had one great season, and then after that, just totally flopped. And then before that, he had below average seasons, losing seasons left and right. Um, he caught lightning in a bottle one time, and he just hasn't been, to me, a very good head coach. But he can prove us wrong. He can prove me wrong in 2025. Mike Gundy, he was one of them, guys that, I mean, he's a very good head coach. Don't get me wrong, but you know, he's on the back end of his career as a head coach, and he wants, if he wants to, uh, I guess, make his mark on college football and what his legacy is going to be at the end of the day, right? I
Right.
think he needs to prove something this year because I think he needs to at least be in the Big 12 title picture conversation at least. And then let me see, let me think. What
So
was the last one?
You got Riley, Norvell, and Gundy.
All right, Lincoln Riley. A couple years ago, we would have put him easily in the top, probably top five head
Yeah.
coaches. Great, the best. If I'd told you like 3 years ago to make me a top 10 list of active head coaches that are the best, you'd probably have him in the top five. So he has definitely. I don't even think you would have him in the top 15 right now of active
Right.
head coaches that are the best right now. I don't know. Maybe you would, but like, you would definitely have him at number 15 if you did have a top 15, right? Um, so he needs to prove something as well, because if you can't win at Southern Cal, like, are you really a good head coach? I mean, you should be able to, especially in the NIL era, you should be winning everything. You should be a perennial playoff team every single year.
Yeah. I would agree. I would agree to that. Any other thoughts before I show you some of this video I put out today?
That's pretty much all my thoughts. I mean, show the video, then I'm gonna give you three. I'm gonna give you three.
Okay. And then I'll try to guess them, of course. But I'm not gonna. well, it's 3 minutes. I guess I could play the whole thing here, but I was walking in one of the parks in
Yeah,
Coleman, trying to get some
go ahead and
exercise.
play all of it.
Yeah, yeah, we'll play all of it, and but sometimes I do like these walk in the parks and everything, and just kind of stuff comes to my mind when I walk. So here we go.
What's up, everybody? Ballard here. Check it in on what is today? Friday. See, I'm losing track of days, man. It's just been one of those weeks. It's always one of those weeks for Ballard. I don't know. But Mike Gundy, Mike Norvell, and Lincoln Riley, what do those three coaches have in common? Well, first of all, not one of them has a national championship. They actually have a lot in common, more than you think, I would say. They have had success in ways pretty much everywhere they've been. Now, I don't remember like the early Mike Gundy days because he's been coaching longer than both of those two combined, really, I think, Lincoln and Mike Norvell. Um, but let's focus on 2025. I got to hear from you guys in the comments. Um, Lincoln Riley, Mike Norvell, Mike Gundy. What do they have in common as far as 2025? Bounce back years. Now, they all didn't necessarily have the same record or type of season, but they did underperform, especially Florida State. And they need to bounce back in big ways and try to get to 10 wins to keep that type of mentality, or to keep, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but if they really want to be on a pedestal as a coach, not at the very top, but anywhere near it, they got to hit 10 wins, I think. Now, for Florida State, it's a little different. It's like just make a ball game, just win more than 2 games. But then you got Lincoln Riley. Well, how is he able to make the playoffs so many years at Oklahoma? Then he goes to the Big Ten, let alone, a year in the pack, right? How does he go to USC and completely screw it up? That's just insanity to me, if you ask me. But I got to hear from you guys in the comments. What do you think those three coaches have in common? And do you think they could bounce back? Didn't Oklahoma State go 3-9? I think they did. They had a pretty bad year. But again, that's another coach that has had great success, especially at Oklahoma State, where he's been there the longest. Mike Gundy, man, is he losing his grip on coaching? Is he losing his edge in college football? This is why I bring these coaches up, because we're going to find out. We're going to find out for these coaches in 2025 if they still got it. Got to hear from you guys in the comment section. Mike Gundy, Mike Norvell, and old Lincoln Riley. Do you agree? Let me know. Love y'all.
All right, Mayhem, you have the floor. What do you think of this video? And did I say what needed to be said about these coaches, you think?
Yeah.
Muted.
Great.
Oh, no, you're good.
Uh,
You
I,
thought it was great? All right.
yeah, I thought it was great. I wanna talk about three head coaches as well.
Yeah. You name them, and I'll try to figure it out, I guess.
Okay, Bill O'Brien,
Bill O'Brien.
Bill Belichick,
Okay.
and Matt Rule.
I thought you were going to take another Bill somewhere, but let's see. Matt Rule. Okay. So Bill Belichick at UNC, of course, entering year 1 in college football. O'Brien entering year 2 at Boston College. And then you said Matt Rule, who's back at Nebraska this year for his second year, right? Or third. I think he came in last year. Um, they all have a ton of pressure. I would say I think there's a ton of pressure on all three coaches, and it's very hard because you threw Belichick in there. I just see a lot of pressure and not much room for them to really get it done.
Okay. Well, you want me to give you my
What are you
answer?
getting at? Yeah, go for it.
They're all former NFL head coaches.
That's it? That's what you got?
That's
I
it?
mean, yeah, I knew that, but I didn't think that's where you were going with it.
I mean, what do you mean that's it?
Huh?
We always ask the question, can
Right.
Bill Belichick do it at North Carolina?
Yeah.
And, Bill O'Brien, head coach, Boston College. He was head coach at Houston Texans. Um, you had Matt Rule, and I know he started. I'm pretty sure he started his head coaching career in college. So I guess you could
Yeah.
say it's a little bit different. But he went to the NFL to the Carolina Panthers. Was not successful at all. Ended up getting fired, and which led him to land a job with Nebraska. But
Yeah.
you know, this is a different era of college football than what he is used to. So I do believe that it's very similar as these other two head coaches that were also NFL head coaches, and it does raise questions like, can an NFL head coach be a head coach in college football in today's college football? Let me add that because I know Matt Rule was a previous college head coach before he went into the NFL, but I'm talking about in today's college football, in today's world of college football, can an NFL coach do it? And that was mainly the what I was getting to is that all these are previous head coaches in the NFL that are now, you know, I believe Bill O'Brien has only been head coach of uh, the Boston College for what, a year,
Yeah.
uh, and then Bill Belichick is coming in first year in North Carolina, and then obviously have Matt Rule that's going in year three. So they're all fairly new. Uh, we'll get a good sample size in a couple of years of these head coaches to see if it is doable. If the success will turn out to be really good. You know what I mean?
I see where you ended up going with this, and I think you went on a good path here. Yeah, I got you, man. All three of these guys panned out and had success, you know, kind of sort of in the NFL, outside of Matt Rule. Like even Bill O'Brien, did he not get the Texans to some playoff games? And obviously we know all about Belichick. Um, really, I think of the three, I think the only one that can't coach in the NFL, really, at least what we've seen so far, is Matt Rule. But they were all once there. Now they have this chance to kind of like even with Belichick, it's like, well, the back half and Tom Brady left and blah blah blah. He still struggled at New England late, and now he's trying to redeem himself in college. Each of these guys are trying to find their rhythm and redeem themselves. And I think two of them, only because Bill's fixing Belichick's entering year one, but having been, um, at their schools, for a couple years with Rule and O'Brien. If you think about it, like I mean, it took them a little while, but they got it going, don't you think?
Oh yeah. I really do believe that. Yeah, they. Um, I think what's crazy is the one college coach that I think will have the most success is Matt Rule out of these three. And you know what's the craziest thing? He had the worst success in the NFL out of them three. And he's probably going to end up having the best success as a college football head coach. And I know I'm a broken record. I've already said this twice, but I'll say it one more time for the people in the back that didn't listen or that's going to type later and say, "Oh, well, Matt Rule was already a head coach before he was in the NFL." I understand that, Bob, Bud. I understand that. I'm talking about today's college football. We're talking about Matt Rule being a head coach back in the what was it the early 20 teens or whatever. I mean, that is a whole entire different look in college football than it is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whenever I say what NFL head coach is going, whenever I say all these three head coaches are new to this game of college football and we'll find out if they can have success. I'm talking about the new college football and the college football as we see it today, right? And it's constantly changing now, but we'll see if these NFL head coaches can adapt and change with the times and be a good college football head coach. And I do believe with the a little bit of experience that Matt Rule has had with the old college football will end up making him a better college football head coach than the other two whenever it's all said and done. But yeah, I mean, I think uh, I think it's a great similarity that all three of these has had um, a tenure in the NFL as a head coach. Also, you know what's crazy, Ballard?
Yeah.
So Pete Carroll. Let's talk about Pete Carroll for a second. I know I didn't put him
Okay.
on my list, but I'm going somewhere with this. Trust me, I'm a professional. Um, Pete Carroll, amazing, amazing head coach in college. Won a couple of national championships with Southern Cal. Went on to the Seattle Seahawks, won a Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
Um, Amazing head coach, college and NFL. When we take a look at these three guys, so Matt Rule, great college football head coach, goes to the NFL, does the same thing that Pete Carroll does, instantly fails, is terrible, is basically really terrible with the Panthers. Gets fired. Now he's back at college in in the new age of college football. Um, so and then we look at Bill O'Brien, right? Goes to the Texans and then now he finds himself. I mean, he was a coordinator for Alabama, and he was coordinator with the Patriots, and then he went to college, and then went back to pro, and so he's kind of been flip flopping. But he had a little bit of success in the NFL, and now he's in college, and he's doing okay for himself. I wouldn't say he's had a lot of success, but he's doing all right, right?
Yeah.
And it's still early on in his head coaching career in college, and that's why I picked these three guys specifically because all three of these guys are still fairly new with their program, right? I mean, like I said before, Matt Rule in year three, Bill O'Brien in year two. Here comes Bill Belichick in year one. Bill Belichick has never coached a college football game in his life as a head coach, so um, we raise a lot of questions like, is he going to be successful? And I know this is very cliche to say, but it's kind of like a 50-50 shot. I mean, he can be. We have proof that he's a good head coach in general, so he can be successful. But is it going to translate in college football? That's why I say it's kind of like a 50-50 chance. I mean, could we see basically the opposite of Matt Rule? He's great in the NFL, but then totally flops in college, just like Matt Rule, totally opposite, right?
Yeah.
He you know, Matt Rule was really good in college, goes to NFL, and then totally is a disaster, right?
Yes. Also
But
makes me can we do an honorable mention, even though he's retired at Fox, but Urban Meyer, um, really great at Ohio State, won a championship, won 2 championships at Florida, goes to the Jaguars and completely bust. I mean,
yeah,
that's
so
another one to look at.
there's a ton of examples like that, and that's why I brought these three guys because they are active college football head coaches.
Right.
And I know a lot of people will give me some slack because I mentioned Matt Rule, but like I said, and I really want people to understand this, that he coached Baylor in the old system of college football. Whenever I don't, did we even have a 14 playoff whenever he was head coach? Let me look that up real
We had
quick.
the BCS. I don't know. What years did he coach? 2016? He
Matt
had to have
Rule.
had a playoff.
Matt Rule. He was a head coach. Yeah, we had the playoffs, yes, but we only had the 14 playoff. Now we're at a 12-team playoff, right?
Right.
I mean, started out Penn State as a volunteer assistant. Some notable ones: 2001, he was a defensive line coach for UCLA. Defense line coach in 2006 for Temple. He was at Temple from 2006 to 2010, or actually 2011, and then 2012 he went to the NFL as offensive line coach for the Giants. Went back to Temple, so he did a lot of his tenure, 2013 to 2016, Temple as the head coach though, and then 2017, 2019 with Baylor. So yes, he did have the 14 playoff, but um, then from 2020 to 2022, and just like I talked about Ballard with Dabo Sweeney earlier, right? And this will be kind of like a full circle moment for me. 2020 was really when college football changed as we once knew it, right? Um, and that's whenever was in the NFL from 2020 to 2022 with the Carolina Panthers. Absolutely did terrible there. 2023 with Nebraska gets hired until now, and um, this is a brand new college football than whenever he left in 2019. This is totally brand new. You know, I don't even think NIL was a thing in 2019. You can correct me if I'm
Uh,
wrong, but I don't think it was.
I don't think so. I mean, we were talking about, oh, eventually we'll have this or that with paying players or whatever, but it wasn't around yet. It wasn't active.
Yeah, so yeah, 2021, July 1st, 2021, NIL started. So basically what I'm saying is Matt Rule, whenever he went into the NFL in 2020, NIL started. You had, you know, the transfer portal thing where you can transfer every single year if you want to somewhere else, right? That changed. And then whenever he came back to be a head coach in college football, whenever he thought he had it all figured out, college football said, Matt Rule, hold my beer. We're going to expand this playoff into a 12-team playoff. Hey, by the way, Matt Rule, hold my beer again, because not only are we changing the format of it, we're going to change it again next year in 2026. So we're going to change it once again in 2025, and then in 2026 we're going to change it again, and that leads us to our final topic of the night, Ballard.
Yeah.
The college football playoff. You love how I did that? I told you I was
Yeah,
going.
that was a great transition.
I told you I was going somewhere, Ballard. College football playoff 5+11 model gaining traction as leaders eye next steps. This is coming from ESPN. Heather Dinich wrote this article. Shout out to her. Um, It says a 16-team college football playoff model featuring the top 5 conference champions and 11 at-large teams is gaining traction following SEC spring meetings this week. But the next step in college playoff expansion for 2026 and beyond will depend on how quickly the sports leaders can make a flurry of decisions. A critical component in the SEC's choice between staying at 8 league games or moving to 9, a topic ACC sources say could be revisited in their league after years of being dormant if prompted by a playoff expansion. The linchpin to those scheduling decisions is one thing every conference seems to agree on. They need clarity about how the CFP selection committee ranks its teams, starting with how strength of schedule is determined and applied. Quote from Greg Sankey, I do think there's need for change, end quote. Um, how do you make those decisions? It's hard, and we trust the committee to do that, and I respect the people in there, so this isn't a criticism of the people. This is wanting to understand the decisions. We have to do better, clarity on the criteria that inform those decisions. Also, a quote from Greg Sankey. Currently, the strength of schedule is one of several factors not weighed in the committee's ambiguous protocol. Um, so right now, it is one of the several factors not weighed in this protocol, which is a crime in my opinion. But the article goes on. There's a sense among some athletic directors in the SEC and ACC that moving to a 9 conference games is feasible if the committee doesn't penalize team for losing 2 or 3 games against strong opponents. Some SEC athletic directors stressed this week that they would only favor a 9-game league schedule if the conference is guaranteed 4 playoff spots. Also, the Big Ten's preferred model. This is another quote from Texas A&M's athletic director. Quote, if we're not confident that decision making about who gets in and why and what are the metrics around it is going to be really hard for some of my colleagues to get to the 9 games. He also quote, we've got a timeline that's getting tight and we recognize that. It seems like everything is coming to a head. In a way, it's a little bit frustrating. In another way, it feels good because eventually it feels like we're going to get some of this dealt with. Sankey was asked if his conference will be unified on a format by 20 the CFP leaders have a set December 1st as a deadline to determine the future format in 2026. And he was asked about that. He said, quote, we'll see. I'm gonna stop right there because but let's talk about this model, the 5+11 model, Ballard. What's your thoughts on it?
I don't know. I just, I mean, so let me think about this one. A 5+11 model. I mean, the conferences like it, um, but I, I'm trying to briefly understand.
Well, here's
So
here's here's the
this
thing.
is for the 16 team model. I know that.
Yes, it's the five highest ranked conference champions get an automatic bid plus 11 at large. But the thing is, SEC is being SEC and ACC are being told that they need to go to the 9 game conference schedule, right?
Right.
And the SEC is saying like, "Hey, we need automatic bids then because we have the hardest schedule out of everybody, and we don't want to be punished for playing greater competition. So you either give us automatic bids or you make the right decisions. Can we trust you to make the right decisions, right?"
Right.
And so I do agree with this 5+11 model for college football
I do
playoff,
too.
but
Yeah.
if we're gonna add the whole we get automatic bids in the Big Ten and SEC, then now I do not become a fan of it.
Yeah. Here's the
Mhm.
thing. Like, as much as I love Big Ten football, and I especially love the SEC football, like I don't care what the teams are, man. I just love to see them have success. But I want it to be fair among all Power Four conferences. And to make it a majority between the two major ones, like I get it in the sense of, well, they're just so popular and they got the most teams and they're the money makers and stuff. Yeah, but like we don't want to kill college football and get it to two conferences. Like, don't you want to see the Big 12 and the ACC compete as well to try to get their brands back in order? What do you think, Mayhem?
All right, I'm gonna push back on you a little bit. I have thought about this long and hard. I've thought about this long and hard, Ballard.
Okay.
I have argued with myself back and forth, and I have finally came to a conclusion that you don't need. Look, I might get some slack off of this, but there is not 134 or whatever teams that can realistically compete for a national championship year in and year out. Realistically,
Right.
I don't know what you want to do as far as you know conference wise, but I think there should really only be realistically no more than 50 college football teams that should have a chance to compete for a national championship. And I say that because, like, outside of the top 50, let's take a look at it real quick, and then we'll get off of here. But um, ranking, uh, rank, ranking all uh, FBS teams. So college football rankings. Does this rank all? Yeah, it does. Okay. So, obviously, Ohio State is number one, right?
Yeah.
Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oregon, Texas, Penn State, Georgia, Arizona State, Indiana, Tennessee, SMU. That ranks the top 10. This is also CBS Sports ranking, right? But let's go outside the top 50. And you tell me, we'll play a small game. Outside
Yeah.
the top 50, tell me if these teams, well, there are a couple teams outside the top 50 that can win a national championship, but majority of these cannot, right? Jacksonville State,
No. I
Sam
wish.
Sam Houston,
Probably not.
Miami of Ohio,
No.
UConn,
No.
Texas State.
No.
Surprising that Auburn is all the way at 66, but that's crazy. But anyways,
Auburn might have a better chance than those other teams, but
Western Kentucky,
no.
Bowling Green,
No.
UTSA,
No.
Northwestern,
I'm gonna say no, but I give them credit for being in the Big Ten, I guess.
Maryland,
Uh, better chance than Northwestern, but I still say probably not.
Wake Forest.
No.
See, like Purdue.
No.
See, I mean, I can keep on going, and you're gonna say no to like most of these teams. The only teams that you would say yes to if I said it, even Kentucky, they're never gonna win a national title in football. Come on, it's just not happening. Um, the only ones that you would say yes they can is Auburn, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, UCLA, and Washington. That's about it in the top from 50 all the way to 134. That's about all the teams that I can see that you would actually say, yes, they can win a national championship. But I'm actually not 100% sure that even Washington can because I know they made it to one, but they didn't win it.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
not even.
I still believe the whole any given year, it's possible for anyone to go out there and give it their all and win a
No,
title.
you don't, Ballard.
No, hold on. You didn't let me finish.
Okay.
But but you got to come back down to reality if you're some of these teams and just say, well, you're not even tier 3 in college football. You don't belong there. Like tier 1, you're big time favorites. Your Georgias, your Ohio States, your Alabamas, teams like that, Texas nowadays. Um, tier 2, the underdogs to begin with. Um, and you can help me out here. I don't know, but
You're Washington.
Washington's,
TCU's.
TCU's, yeah. Like, okay, would you have guessed, Mayhem, that it was going to be Georgia TCU a couple years ago? Going
No,
into
but no, but I've always said that TCU. I mean, TCU has always been in that BCS bowl era where they were always a fringe, like top 15 team always, and
but they've been on the bubble. You just
yeah,
didn't
they've been on the bubble. Yeah,
right. I'm not going to go out here and say, you know what? If they really want it bad enough, UAB could go win a title. I don't believe that, and I'd be lying through my teeth if I said it. But I will say, you know what? South Carolina almost made the playoffs last year. They bring back Lenora Sellers this year. They might have what it takes to compete. That's a big difference. And that might even be realistic. You got to play your cards right. And certain teams have to play their cards right to get to where they want to be. And that's the big stage of college football.
If
Not
you're
everyone
not in,
can make it there, but a lot of teams can. And they haven't been playing their cards right.
if you're not in tier A or tier B, what you were talking about, like the perennial playoff teams and national championship contenders year in and year out, or the tier B, which is like dark horses every single year. And that's why I said top 50 Ballard, right? But like the closest we ever got to like somebody out of left field making it was Cincinnati, right? And
Yeah.
you seen what happened. You seen what happened. Alabama could have beat them 45-6, but they didn't. They played a respectful game. You know, Nick Saban didn't want to run up the score. I mean, it was what 27-6. All Bama did was basically run the clock out. That's all they did. They ran the ball, ran the ball, threw a couple passes here and there whenever they needed to. But I mean, for the most part, they just ran the ball in that game and ran out the clock. That's why it was a low scoring affair, 27-6. There was no doubt in your mind, Ballard, when you was watching that Alabama versus Cincinnati game that you was like, maybe Cincinnati can win. Like, come on, bro. You wasn't saying that.
No, no.
So
I'm not.
like you from the minute they kicked off all the way until the game ended, like you knew Bama was going to win the game. You probably didn't even have to watch the game to figure that out. You know,
Yeah.
you really don't even have to be a college football fan for more than 3 minutes to find out that Alabama is going to win that game. So like Cincinnati really didn't even belong there, is what I'm trying to say. You know,
Now, I will say there's a fine line and difference between winning and competing. I do think that you could have gone into that game and said they can compete, but they don't have enough to win it and pull off a major upset. That's a fine line too. There are teams out there that cannot win a championship. But if you put them up against some of the bigger guys, yeah, they might get run over, but they'll have some good plays in the game. You know, they'll compete, but they're not going to get the job done.
yeah, you're not going to tell me that Kent State has a realistic chance of winning a national championship in 2025.
Right.
So why are they playing in the FBS right now with a chance to win one? Because if they're one of the best group of one of the best five conference champions, I mean they'll be in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, aren't you kind of wasting a playoff spot for these guys?
Yeah.
I think that's something that's not talked about. I really don't think that's talked about a whole lot. A group of five is guaranteed a spot in the college football playoff every single year. I don't think I agree with that, Ballard. I mean, you're wasting. See, right now. We're talking about the SEC wants automatic bids, and Big Ten wants automatic bids. Well, you know why they want automatic bids, Ballard? Because one of the playoff spots every single year is taken up by a Group of Five team that don't even really deserve to be there. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I mean, if we had a 16-team playoff that consisted of four from the ACC, four from the Big Ten. So you got the Power Four, 4 from the ACC, 4 from the Big Ten, 4 from the SEC, 4 from the ACC. Or even if you did 4 from the SEC, 4 from the Big Ten, 3 from the ACC, 3 from the 3 from the ACC, and then 3 from the Big 12, right?
Yeah.
Then you could have at-large bids. You can have 2 at-large bids, but you could still get another ACC team in there. You could still get another Big 12 team in there if you really wanted to, or you could get another Big 10 team or SEC team, whatever, right? But like, even if you think your conference is, you know, more better or whatever, right? And you want to get one more playoff spot than the other conferences, then I guess so. I guess I'd be okay with that, right? But I mean, because come on, Ballard, like the SEC and Big Ten are the dominating conferences in college football, but we're wasting a college football playoff spot for teams like Toledo, Sam Houston, Miami of Ohio, Liberty, James Madison, Ohio, Marshall. Like, come on, bro, what are we doing?
I mean, like I said, great teams, but you pin them up against Bama or Georgia or even Penn State. I mean, what was that Penn State Boise State score again? What was it?
I can't remember.
Wasn't it a lot to a little? I could be wrong, but I mean, come on, man. You almost had Las Vegas get in there too. I mean,
31 to
for a
4,
while it looked like they were going to get in.
31-14.
Yeah,
And even then, Penn State could have scored a couple more times. They took their foot off the gas.
yeah,
They could have made that a really interesting blowout game. But I think Boise State, now some teams I think that are a group of 5 needs to actually join a Power 4 conference like Boise State. I think Boise State is one of those group of 5 teams that I look at and I say, like, they should definitely be in. If I was picking my 50 teams right now, Boise State would be in there. So, like, I'm not crapping on the group of 5. I think there are a team or 2, maybe, if I took a look at them. Boise State is one of them for sure that has always been able to compete with the big dogs. I think Boise State not being caught up to a Power 4 conference is crazy. I mean, I really think Boise State right now is better than Northwestern. Like, why we got Northwestern in the Big Ten whenever Boise State could have more competition and can actually do something better than a Northwestern. And that's just
yeah,
my 2 cents. I think, we need to take a look at that, and we need to say, hey, I think we need to do a top 50, and one conference gets 25, the other conference gets 25, and let's go play some football, and you know, and do a 16 team playoff just like the NFL. Make it. I mean, if you're already going to the NFL model, hey, let's go all in. Don't do halfway. Let's do half NFL, half college. No, if you're going to go with the NFL model, go all the way with it. If you're going to go college, just stick with the college formats. Like, don't try to go put your. We're not playing the hokey pokey. You're not putting your left foot in, take your left foot out, take your left foot in, and shake it all about. We're not. We're not putting NFL in. We're not putting NFL out. We're not putting NFL in and shaking the college football playoffs all about, right? We're not doing that, right?
Right.
Like either stay true to college football or 100% change it to the exact format that the NFL has, and let's play some football. Like take the best 40 or 50 teams in college football and make two conferences. Make the SEC, Big Ten, kind of like the AFC and NFC. Have your playoffs, and then have the SEC championship and the Big Ten championship, just like the AFC championship, NFC championship is the game right before the Super Bowl, and have every single year one SEC team versus one Big Ten team for the national championship every single year at the Rose Bowl. Let's do it.
Amen.
If that's the way you want to go, let's do that. Find a way to make the playoffs the same exact format as the NFL, and every single year, regardless of anything, we'll always get one SEC team versus one Big Ten team. Play it at the Rose Bowl every single year for the national championship. I mean, come on, just let's do it. If we're gonna do it, do it. Instead of making college football literally so head scratching, like, and trying to make it so complicated that, back then, whenever I first started watching college football when I was a kid, I could understand it. Hey, number one versus number two. It's that easy, right? Even with the college football playoff, the top four go and they do a playoff, right? It's that easy. It's easy to understand. But now, we got automatic buys. Now we don't have automatic buys. And then now we have automatic bids instead of automatic buys. And then now we have 12 teams. Now we have 16 teams. Now we have, it was 12 teams, and now we have a straight seeding. Now we have a 16-team playoff. Now we have, bro, what are you doing? Do we have automatic bids or do we not have automatic bids? Do we have 4 automatic bids for the SEC or do we not? Stop playing hokey pokey, bro.
I agree.
But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna end it off right there. I think we had a great show today. Ballard, what you got planned for Ballard Sports Media?
More team previews. Don't forget the Christian Ballard show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern on Ballard Sports Media.
For sure. And stay tuned for Mayhem Matthew. Got a lot of things planned. Already starting to get a lot of ideas. So make sure you stay tuned, subscribe if you want to see that. And with that being said, go
From his family. Yes, was out on the field pretty much the whole entire first half.
We got a lot of great games. I'm highlighting 2 SEC games.